Hei Shinjio stopped crying. She hugged the old princess' arm and said, "Grandmother, I'm really scared. Since eldest uncle dared to kill me and G-Mama, he might do something to other people. Maybe he will hurt you and grandfather too." "I don't dare to think about it." The old princess' face suddenly changed. If that bastard was pushed to a corner, he might really jump over the wall in desperation. She really should be on guard. Yun Chujio stole a glance at the old imperial consort's expression and continued, "Grandmother, as the saying goes, you can't do two things at once. It's better to distract first uncle and first aunt's attention. That way, they won't have the time to do anything bad." The old imperial consort listened to Yun Chujio's words thoughtfully, but she didn't say anything. She comforted Yun Chujio for a while before letting her go back. After Yun Chujio left, the old imperial consort asked G-Mama, "Do you think little Ninth's words just now were intentional?" G-Mama's heart was like a muttering dog. What could she say? She could only say vaguely, This servant can't say for sure. Perhaps Ninth young miss was frightened, so she was a little agitated." The old imperial consort nodded. "You're right. Little Ninth is kind-hearted, so she definitely doesn't have so many twists and turns. Sigh, this child is really too naive." G-Mama wished she could shout out a few words. "Old princess consort, are you blind? Which eye did you see that she was kind-hearted? She was kind-hearted? She was simple-minded? She was simply a little devil who killed without batting an eyelid, okay?" However, G-Mama did not dare to say it out loud. For some reason, she felt that Ninth young miss was even more terrifying than King Yun. Seeing that G-Mama did not look too well, the old princess thought that she was frightened, so she did not pay too much attention to it. She said, "What do you think can distract the eldest couple?" G-Mama recalled what the little devil had told her before and said tentatively, "Master, the princess is jealous. Why don't you do something about it? If the two of them fight, they will naturally have no time to care about Ninth young miss. Besides, Third Madam and the princess have not been on good terms. If you give some real power to Third Madam in the inner residence, the princess will have even less time to care about Ninth miss." The old princess nodded. "The first thing is for you to get someone to do it. The second thing is for me to do." After Hei Shinjio returned to her courtyard, she released the news that her old illness had relapsed. The old princess consort thought that this fellow was frightened and hurriedly invited the imperial physician to come over to take a look. However, the conclusion was the same as last time. She could only recuperate slowly and there was really no good way. The old princess consort had no choice but to have someone take good care of her. From time to time, she would send G-Mama over to take a look. When the people of the Yun residence saw that the old princess consort valued Hei Shinjio so much, they also came over to take a look. When the He-Shi arrived, Yun Chujio asked Shi-Hua and Shi-Shui to keep an eye on the outside. She respectfully bowed to the He-Shi. "Third aunt, little Gio thanks you for saving my life." The He-Shi smiled. "Little Gio, you're too polite. The people that third aunt sent were originally to protect you." Yun Chujio smiled faintly. "Although that's the case, I still have to thank third aunt. Those guards left in a hurry and I didn't have the time to properly thank them. Third aunt, take me to pass these spirit stones to them." He sure saw the extra 1 million upper-grade spirit stones in her storage ring and was instantly shocked. This, little Gio, this is too much, isn't it? Third aunt, the kindness of saving a life should be repaid with a gushing spring. This isn't much at all. In addition, when I was talking to grandmother earlier, I mentioned third aunt a few times. According to grandmother, she wanted to hand over some matters of the imperial residence to you to take care of. He-Shi's heart was filled with joy, but on the surface, she said with a faint smile, "You little lass, you're spouting nonsense. The matters of this royal residence are all controlled by Zhengshi. How could she possibly give me some? Third aunt, even if she, Zhengshi, is arrogant and despotic, doesn't she still have grandmother above her? Anyway, I heard that grandmother plans to hand over the clothes and cosmetics of the people in the residence to you." Yun Chujio said with a smile. When the He-Shi heard this, she couldn't help but feel slightly excited. These two jobs were both lucrative. although she wasn't short of money, who would complain about having too much money. Moreover, as long as she took care of these two matters, she could arrange for her own people. No matter what, it was a great thing. Yun Chujio glanced at the joy in the he-sure's eyes. She sighed softly. Third aunt, even if I don't tell you some things, you still know about them. In the Cloud King manor, only grandmother and third aunt can rely on me. As long as I can help, I won't say anything else. Third aunt, please take care of me more in the future. He-sure's heart turned a few times. She and Zheng-shi weren't on good terms to begin with. Although this little ninth lass was on her own, she had the old consort behind her, so they could work together. In any case, it didn't really matter. When she thought of this, He-shi smiled and said, "You child, third aunt will naturally take care of you." Yun Chujio smiled. She lowered her voice. Third aunt, there are some outrageous things that I can only say to you. I heard that the position of crown prince is not that secure. The reason why he likes Sister Shiyu is because of the Yun family army in first uncle's hands. In other words, whoever controls the Yun family's army is the master of King Yun's residence. He-shi was shocked. She obviously didn't expect Yun Chujio to be so straightforward. She couldn't help but tremble slightly as she said, "Little Jio, what do you mean?" Third aunt, I don't mean anything. I just need to grab hold of my life when I do things. Otherwise, there's really no use for some small fights in the house. Also, third aunt, you don't have to worry about me. What can a lonely little lass like me do? Yun Chujio calmly replied. He-shi's heart pounded violently. The thoughts that she had been suppressing all this while once again rose up in her mind. She spoke with a trembling voice. You have a way to obtain the tiger talisman of the Yun clan army? Also, even if you obtain the tiger talisman, it's useless. How would the Yun clan army listen to your third uncle's orders? Third aunt, there are some things that I don't have to tell you. Grandfather is extremely disappointed with uncle. The reason why he didn't submit a petition to cripple uncle was because he was afraid of the tiger talisman in his hands. It was useless for others to have the tiger talisman, but when the tiger talisman was in grandfather's hands, the Yun family army would naturally listen to his orders. At that time, grandfather would cripple uncle, and third uncle would have made a great contribution. Third aunt, your mother's family is Prince Ping's residence, so the throne would naturally fall to third uncle. Third aunt, at that time, you were consort Yun, sister Shilian was Princess Shilian, and brother Jichen was the crown prince. How wonderful! Yun Chujio said with a faint smile. The scene that Yun Chujio described had already been described countless times in the he-shi's mind. All along, she felt that she was more suitable for the title of consort Yun than the Zheng-shi. How could she not be moved by Yun Chujio's words? Little Jio, do you have any way to obtain the tiger talisman? He-shi asked in a trembling voice. It's very simple. Find a woman that can interest my eldest uncle and create a few coincidental encounters. Then, get that woman to ignore him. He will naturally think of a way to please that woman. Then, get that woman to think of a way to get him to take out the tiger talisman for her to see. Once the tiger talisman is in his hands, he must immediately deliver it to grandfather. This is to prevent any more trouble. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Little Jio, is this possible? Did your grandfather tell you this? He sure felt that this method was not very reliable. The method was thought up by me and G Mama, but grandfather really wants to get the tiger talisman back. Yun Chujio said very naturally. This fellow had never been careless when it came to lying. He sure heard Yun Chujio say that the method was thought up by her and G Mama, so she naturally thought that the old consort knew about this matter, so she had a lot of confidence in her heart. However, this matter was very important. She still said, Little Jio, I'll think about it when I go back. I'll give you an answer tomorrow. Yun Chujio nodded. Third aunt, right now, eldest uncle is in a bad mood. After this period of time, I'm afraid our plan won't work anymore. You have to make a decision as soon as possible. He sure nodded and left in a hurry. Hei Shinjio narrowed her eyes. It was G Mama who took the initiative to tell her about the tiger talisman. Although she was now instigating the he-sure behind the old royal highness and the old consort's back, once the tiger talisman was in her hands, they wouldn't blame her. Desperate times called for desperate measures. As for he-sure, she would definitely agree. After all, she had been thinking about it for so long and finally had a good opportunity. How could she not be tempted? Of course, once the tiger talisman was in her hands, it would not matter who the old royal highness chose to be the royal highness. However, she reckoned that the old royal highness would not hand the tiger talisman over to someone else for the time being. Hei Shinjio pondered for a while and felt that she had not missed anything. Only then did she remember who had saved her miserable mother. Logically speaking, Yilan should not have any family or friends on Atlas continent. Who had taken such a huge risk to save her? After thinking for a while, she still could not come up with a conclusion. This fellow then recalled her miserable cultivation method. She wondered if there would be heavenly lightning striking her on Atlas continent. On the one hand, she hoped that the heavenly lightning would strike her. On the other hand, she was worried that the heavenly lightning would be too strong. She had nowhere to hide. She was really at a loss. The more she thought about it, the more annoyed she became. She sat on the bed and counted her inventory with her spiritual sense. There were quite a number of talismans, but their level was too low. They couldn't pose much of a threat to the people in the towering sky continent. Previously, she had received the inheritance of the heaven-grade talismans from the heavenly Dao cliff. Unfortunately, she didn't have enough spiritual power now and couldn't make them. They were really useless. Hei Shinjio flipped through the pages and saw the 5 refined iron puppets. Because they were too weak, Yun Chujio had not used them for a long time. She did not know if they would break down after being unused for so long. Yun Chujio simply released the 5 puppets. Seeing that the spiritual stones in the puppet tray had all been used up, she stuffed the puppet tray full of spiritual stones. Then, the 5 puppets opened their eyes. The 5 refined iron puppets knelt on one knee and said in unison, "Greetings, Master." Hei Shinjio was so scared that she almost sat on the ground. How could she still talk? She was scared to death. Although these puppets said it with spiritual sense, it still scared Hei Shinjio a lot. Previously, these puppets could only understand her orders, but they couldn't give back any information. How could they be so smart when they were just left there? Get up, get up. Hei Shinjio stammered. Only then did the 5 puppets stand up, lowering their hands and standing obediently in front of Hei Shinjio. Hei Shinjio rubbed her chin and pondered. These puppets seemed to be smarter than before, but this refined iron shell was really weak. She had to think of a way to refine some good materials to drive the shell. This way, she would be able to lend a hand. This guy still had a few 10,000-year-old black iron chains, but the little flame was too weak to melt the 10,000-year-old black iron. Otherwise, refining a few puppets made of 10,000-year-old black iron would be awesome. Hei Shinjio blinked her eyes and decided to go to the shops on the street when she had time. If there were good puppets, she would buy a few and then modify them herself. The next day, he sure came again in the name of delivering pastries. He sure and Yun Chujio had a simple discussion, then he sure left in high spirits. After a few days, Yun Chujio heard Xihua gloating over Xihua's misfortune and reported to her that Jing Shi and Yun Fengjian were quarreling with each other. Then, the old consort found Jing Shi and gave the matter of clothes and cosmetics to He Shi. Jing Shi was so angry that she quarreled with He Shi on the spot. After that, it was the old consort who reprimanded the two of them and then stopped. Yun Chujio curled her lips. This was just the beginning. Take it slow. There was no rush. This fellow felt that his illness should have recovered, so he went to greet the old imperial consort and the old royal highness. After acting coquettishly, Hei Shinjio said with a smile, "Grandmother, I want to go shopping on the street. I've been holding it in for the past few days." The old princess said with a smile, "That's true. You can go shopping then. Just ask them to come to the Yun mansion to settle the bill. I'll send some guards to protect you in secret." Hearing that she did not need to spend money, the smile on Yun Chujio's face became even brighter. The old princess was so coaxed that she could not even find the north. Ji Mama curled her lips in her heart. The old princess was usually quite shrewd. How could she be blind when she met this ninth young miss? Why did she feel that such a cruel and cunning little devil was pure and kind? He Xingjiu happily brought Shi Hua and Shi Shui out of the Cloud King's mansion and soon arrived at the South Street, which was filled with shops. Because of the image of He Xingjiu riding on the glory off the rabbit and the rumors spread by Princess Shiyu, many people were pointing fingers at He Xingjiu. Do you see that? She is the ninth miss of the Cloud Mansion. She is the ninth miss who refused the imperial preceptor without knowing what was good for her. TSK, she is quite good-looking. No wonder the imperial preceptor took a fancy to her. There must be something wrong with her brain. Otherwise, why would she refuse the imperial preceptor? I think so too. Other people ride wildebeest, but she actually rode a broken rabbit. Moreover, I heard that she shamelessly said that she had done something outrageous with a wild man. I also heard about it. What do you mean by touching or not touching? She's really shameless. No wonder even the divine phoenix didn't accept her. Even I don't want such a piece of trash, let alone the divine phoenix. Shi Hua and Shi Shui's faces flushed red. They glared at those people angrily, wishing that they could go over and give those people a good beating. Yun Chujio laughed lightly and motioned for the two of them to calm down. She jumped down from the rabbit and then looked at those people who were gossiping. When those people saw Yun Chujio looking at them with a faint smile, they could not help but feel a little guilty. Some of them shouted, "What are you looking at? Did we say something wrong? You rejected the national master to begin with. You have no sense of shame." Yun Chujio's smile deepened. She pointed at the people who were talking and said, "Men, send these people who are slandering the national master to the government." Immediately, the guards who were secretly protecting Yun Chujio controlled the people who were talking. Those people immediately became anxious. "What right do you have to say that we slandered the imperial tutor? You are slandering us." Yun Chujio sighed faintly. "I am someone who the imperial tutor wants to take in as a disciple. You say that I am worthless. Aren't you slandering the imperial tutor's judgment? So, you are slandering the imperial tutor. Take him away. The government will have a verdict." Those people were instantly dumbfounded. That's right, they were simply blinded by lard. No matter how bad Yun Chujio was, she was someone that the national master wanted to take in as a disciple. She was someone that the national master thought highly of, yet they made her look so bad. Wasn't that insulting the national master's taste? Those people were finally afraid. If they were sent to the government, insulting the imperial tutor would be a big crime. They might even be punished to dig for mines. If they were not careful, they might lose their lives. The more they thought about it, the more afraid they became. They fell to their knees with a plop. "Ninth miss, we were all out of our minds just now, so we said some nonsense. Please have mercy on us, my lord." "Yes, ninth miss, we are also people. Our brains are not good, and we are stupid. Please treat us as farts. Miss Gio, I have a mother and a child waiting to be fed. Please spare me this time." Yun Chujio did not speak for a long time. Just when those people were in despair, Yun Chujio said indifferently, "It's not that I'm ruthless. It's just that a woman's reputation is too important. However, you have also been fooled. Forget it, you can leave." When those people heard Yun Chujio's words, they immediately kowtowed and bowed, and then left dejectedly. Yun Chujio looked at the rest of the onlookers and said with a faint smile, "I don't know where you heard that version of me, making me sound so unbearable. In fact, the matter was very simple. The imperial preceptor had indeed taken a fancy to me, but because I already had someone in my heart, the imperial preceptor had helped me. As for sacrificing my body to the divine phoenix, it was also because the divine phoenix felt that I had a pitiful background and was kind-hearted, so it didn't take me in. If the divine phoenix dislikes me, wouldn't it be better to just kill me to avoid being an eyesore?" After Yun Chujio said this, she brought along the stunned Shi Hua and Shi Shui and continued strolling forward. The onlookers pondered for a while, and it seemed that what Yun Chujio said was the truth. What she said earlier was really a bit ridiculous, so they all dispersed after discussing in low voices. Not far away, two men stood on the second floor of an inn. They had a clear view of what had just happened. Jichen, this ninth sister of yours is really not simple. She broke the rumor with such a simple toss. No wonder the imperial tutor wants to take her as a disciple. The one who spoke was the fifth prince, Lung Tianhong. The man beside the fifth prince was Yun Jichen, the third son of the Yun family. He frowned. Your Highness, although this ninth sister of mine is eloquent, she is too sharp. She is just a little girl. The fifth prince looked at Yun Jichen with a smile that was not a smile. Then he said, Jichen, I think she is not simple. How can the person that the national advisor has his eyes on be simple? And I heard that the reason why King Yun brought her back should be a hint from father. Yun Jichen frowned even more. Then he said, is it a hint from the emperor? If it was a hint from the emperor, why would eldest uncle have the intention to kill her? It's very simple. I reckon that King Yun feels that she has no value after rejecting the national advisor. Furthermore, she has exposed his scandal. Naturally, he will kill her to silence her. The fifth prince's face was filled with disdain and a cold smile. Without waiting for Yun Jichen to speak, the fifth prince continued, you are the only good person in your Yun family right now. The rest are either mediocre, incompetent, or immoral. Therefore, you are the most suitable person for the position of King Yun. However, Yun Fengjian has a solid foundation now. I'm afraid we can't do anything to him in a short time. We still have to plan slowly. Hearing the fifth prince's words, Yun Zichen's face was slightly stiff. If my second uncle was still alive, our Yunwang manor wouldn't have become like this. Unfortunately, little ninth sister is a woman. If she were a man, she would be perfect as the Yunwang lord. After all, the Yun family army only became so powerful in the hands of second uncle. The fifth prince's eyes flashed and he said indifferently, without a son-in-law is also fine. Before Yun Jichen could react to the fifth prince's words, he saw the fifth prince turn around and leave the house. Yun Jichen was suddenly shocked. His Highness meant that, could it be that he wanted to marry little Jiao? Yun Jichen did not have time to think and quickly chased after her. Yun Chujiao had already entered a shop that sold equipment. The owner of the shop had already seen the commotion for half a day and knew that this Miss Jiao was not someone to be trifled with, hence, his smile was full of enthusiasm. Miss Jiao, please take a look. If you like one, I will give you the best price. Yun Chujiao nodded and glanced around the shop. She found a few puppets made of 1,000 hammer iron. She asked the owner to demonstrate them and found that they were not much different from the puppets she had seen before, it was just that they were more exquisite and sturdier. These puppets are a little weak in defense. Do you have any puppets made of better materials? Yun Chujiao asked. Before the shop owner could say anything, he heard a gentle female voice say, Sister Jiao, why did you buy the puppets? Yun Chujiao turned around and saw Princess Shiyu and Jing Shuiying walking in. Princess Shiyu was smiling like a spring breeze, but Jing Shuiying's eyes were full of resentment. Yun Chujiao said with a smile, I bought it to protect myself. After all, I'm so weak. If I have a puppet, I can buy some time to escape. Jing Shuiying sneered, then she said, Yun Chujiao, it's not that I look down on you. Even if you have a puppet made of good materials, can you afford it? Besides, puppets are of little value. They can only defend but not attack. With that kind of money, you might as well buy more talismans. Thank you for your reminder, but I still want to buy a few puppets. Boss, do you have a puppet made of better materials? The price is not a problem. After all, this money is in the public accounts of the Cloud King's mansion. Yun Chujiao said with a smile. Princess Shiyu's expression immediately changed. The official account of the Cloud King mansion? This Yun Chujiao was really shameless. Puppets made of good materials were very expensive. Why should she go through the official account? The shop owner was overjoyed. He quickly said, Ninth Miss, there are a few 1,000-year-old black iron puppets on the second floor. It can be said that they are the most valuable treasures in our shop. The items are definitely good, but because the price is relatively high and everyone doesn't know the goods, we haven't sold them. Yun Chujio raised her eyebrows. Is that so? Bring me up to take a look. Princess Shiyu's eyes flashed as she followed behind. She thought to herself, if the price was cheap, it would be fine. But if it was really expensive, no matter what, she couldn't let her go through the public accounts. She would definitely ruin it. Everyone went up to the second floor. After the shop owner opened a few restrictions, he opened another cabinet. There was a puppet inside. Almost at first glance, Yun Chujio decided to buy it. Because this puppet was not only exquisitely made, but the material looked very hard. If she added the puppet disc with her spiritual sense, it would be a great killing tool. Although Yun Chujio was very fond of it in her heart, she looked indifferent on the surface. It looks alright. How much is it? 5 million upper-grade spirit stones. After saying that, the shop owner felt a little embarrassed. This price was really too expensive. It was enough to buy a high-quality flying spirit tool. It's not expensive. I'll buy as many of these puppets as you have. Yun Chujio said indifferently. Both the shop owner, Princess Shiyu, and Jing Shuang were stunned. This was 5 million high-grade spirit stones. Why did it feel as light as 5 high-grade spirit stones in her mouth? Moreover, how many did she want? The shop owner was the first to react. His old face smiled like a flower. Ninth Miss is really discerning. Such good things are naturally not expensive. I have a total of 5 such puppets here, a total of 25 million high-grade spirit stones. Hand over the goods. Then, go to the Yun Mansion to get the spirit stones. Yun Chujio said indifferently. Alright, I'll help you take out all the puppets now. The shop owner was so happy that he did not want them at all. These 5 puppets had been placed here for decades. Today, he finally found a sucker, Emma. It was simply like a pie falling from the sky. Hold on. Shop owner, wait a moment first. I'll have a few words with Ninth younger sister. Ninth younger sister, you just came back. Perhaps you don't know much about puppets, so you saw something new and insisted on buying them. Actually, this puppet is very useless. It can only passively defend and cannot actively attack. To be honest, it's better to buy some spirit tools or talismans. Moreover, 25 million is not a small amount. Even if the elders in your family pamper you, they won't let you squander it like this. Princess Shiyu said with a sincere tone. The corner of Yun Chujio's mouth slightly curled up, then she smiled and said, Sister Shiyu, you don't have to worry about this. I haven't enjoyed the treatment of the Miss of the Yun Imperial Residence for so many years. Even if it's an annual allowance of 2 million upper-grade spirit stones, it's not just these 25 million upper-grade spirit stones for so many years. I believe that first uncle and first aunt would not be reluctant to part with it. Princess Shiyu choked and took a deep breath. Ninth sister, it's not that I feel sorry for these spirit stones, but that you have to spend the money where it should be spent. These puppets are not worth so many spirit stones at all. The shop owner's face immediately turned ugly. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't afford to offend Princess Shiyu, he would have pointed at her nose and scolded her. Wouldn't this be disrupting his business? It was really hateful. Jing Shuang, who was standing at the side, echoed, Cousin, why are you talking so much with this country bumpkin? Anyway, the Cloud King Manor's money is under Aunt's control. You can tell this boss clearly that it's impossible for her to get the money even if she goes there. See how she can still buy it? When the shop owner heard Jing Shuang's words, he immediately felt uncertain. Yes, this 9th Miss position in the Cloud Mansion was very awkward. She had spent so much money all of a sudden. Perhaps he really wouldn't be able to get the money in the Cloud Mansion. Wouldn't that be a great loss? Pan, Hin 0 Vuan, C, M therefore. The shop owner laughed dryly and said, 9th Miss, how about this? I'll keep these 5 puppets for you. After you take the spirit stones, you can come and pick up the goods. What do you think? Jing Shuang revealed a mocking smile on her face. Boss, I advise you not to have any hopes. The money of the Cloud King Manor was not earned by a strong wind. How could she spend 25 million to buy these puppets? There are some people. If you don't have money, don't come out and pretend to be rich. You really overestimate yourself. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Before Yun Chujio could say anything, the sound of footsteps came from the stairway. Everyone subconsciously looked towards the stairway. When they saw that it was the fifth prince, Zheng Shuiying's face instantly turned red, and her eyes were filled with fiery adoration. Princess Xiyu subconsciously straightened her back, and a faint smile appeared on her face. Although it was impossible for them to be together, she did not want to have any imperfections in front of him. Zheng Shuiying shyly walked up to the fifth prince and bowed. "Your Highness, are you also here to buy something?" The fifth prince did not even look at her. Instead, he said to the shop owner, "Boss, give these 5 puppets to ninth miss. They'll pay for them." "What? Your Highness, you want to buy these 5 puppets and give them to this country bumpkin? That's 25 million high-grade spirit stones." Zheng Shuiying's heart was filled with jealousy as she shouted loudly. The fifth prince's face sank. "Do I need your permission to do anything? Who gave you the courage to question my words?" Zheng Shuiying's face immediately turned pale with fright. I, Princess Xiyu hurriedly said, "Your Highness, Shuiying's hasty words offended you, please don't mind." She also had good intentions. Ninth sister might not have seen the puppets before, so she was curious and wanted to buy them all. However, this puppet costs 5 million high-grade spirit stones. It's really not worth it. Moreover, buying it back won't be of much use. When the fifth prince faced Princess Xiyu, his attitude was obviously much better. He softened his tone and said, "Since ninth miss likes it, it's worth it no matter how much it is. Boss, what are you still standing there for? Hurry up and hand the puppet over to ninth miss. Are you afraid that he'll go back on my word?" The boss immediately shook his head in fear and eagerly went to get the puppet. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed. What was this fifth prince up to? At this moment, Yun Jichen also chased over. He gave Yun Chujio a subtle wink, indicating that she should reject the fifth prince. Yun Chujio had seen Yun Jichen a few times before, but they were all at the Yun family gathering. Hence, she did not have a deep understanding of him. She only knew that he sure was the son of the He clan. Although Yun Chujio didn't know why Yun Jichen would give her a hint, she didn't want to accept the fifth prince's so-called good intentions. Thus, she smiled and said, "Fifth prince, I appreciate your good intentions. However, I'll pay for these puppets myself. Although I'm a little poor, I can still afford these puppets." When the fifth prince heard Yun Chujio's words, he didn't insist. He only watched from the side. He had investigated very clearly. When this Yun Chujio returned to the Yun clan, she had clearly said that she only had 10 million upper-grade spirit stones. How was she going to pay the bill? Moreover, she could not count on the Yun mansion at all. The Yun mansion was now the head of the Zhengshi clan, so 250,000 might be able to help her pay. 25 million? Don't even think about it. In the end, she still had to let him help pay the bill. With this layer of involvement, it would be good for him to have more contact with her in the future. With his charm, he did not believe that Yun Chujio would not be moved. The boss thought that Yun Chujio was asking him to go to the Yun mansion to withdraw the money. He rubbed his hands together. "Miss Jio, it's not that I don't believe you, but this amount is really too big. You should go back to the mansion to withdraw the money first. I will definitely keep the puppet for you." The corners of Yun Chujio's lips curled up. "You don't have to go back to retrieve it. I will transfer it to you now." Zheng Shuiying smiled sarcastically. "Yun Chujio, are you talking nonsense? You're paying now? Do you have that many spirit stones? I've heard that you only have 10 million spirit stones on you. Even if you take them all out, it's still not enough." Princess Xiyu said with a helpless tone, "That's right. Ninth sister, don't try to be brave. How about this? If you really like it, you can buy a puppet back." Yun Chujio didn't even look at them. She directly passed the spirit stones to the boss and said, "I'm in a hurry to have lunch. Hurry up and hand over the puppets to me." The boss looked at the 25 million upper-grade spirit stones in his storage ring. His mouth was wide open. After he came back to his senses, he eagerly handed the 5 puppets to Yun Chujio. The 5th prince and the others were dumbfounded. Was she really rich? Princess Shiyu clenched her fist. It must be the money that old fart gave her. She didn't expect that old fart to dote on this bitch so much. It was really hateful. Yun Chujio put the 5 puppets into her storage ring, and then said to the boss, I spent so much money. Shouldn't you give me something? The boss smiled like a flower. Of course. 9th miss, follow me to the 1st floor. You can pick a few things. Yun Chujio thought to herself, this boss sure knows how to do business. She ignored the others and followed the boss downstairs. The 5th prince's face was embarrassed for a moment, but he quickly returned to normal. He walked downstairs and saw Yun Jichen. He followed him downstairs. Zheng Shuiying stomped her feet. Cousin, where did that country bumpkin get so much money? He's really hateful. Princess Shiyu's eyes flashed with impatience. Enough. What's the point of saying all this now? It's better for you to think of a way to win the 5th prince's favor. When Zheng Shuiying heard what she said, she couldn't wait to go downstairs and chase after the 5th prince. Princess Shiyu pursed her lips. What an idiot. However, it would be good if she could marry the 5th prince. At least, she would be able to learn some of the 5th prince's actions and avoid harming the crown prince. Yun Chujio picked out a few spiritual artifacts and left the equipment store in high spirits. She said to Shi Hua and 11 Shui, let's go. It'll bring you to eat something good. The 2 handmaidens had not recovered from their young miss extravagant behavior. They followed Yun Chujio out of the equipment store in a daze. Miss Jio, wait a moment. I haven't had lunch yet. They'll be the host today. Let's go together. The 5th prince said with a smile. Yun Chujio frowned slightly. Why did the 5th prince bother her? He was really annoying. She turned her head and said indifferently, 5th prince, I can't eat with people I don't know well, so let's eat separately. After saying that, Yun Chujio skipped away without looking back. The 5th prince clenched his fists, and a trace of haze flashed in his eyes. Zheng Shuiying fiercely glared at Yun Chujio's back and said shyly, 5th prince, she doesn't know what's good for her. Please don't be angry. Sister Shiyu and I also happen to be having lunch. Let's go together. Get lost. The 5th prince said with a cold expression. Pan, Din 0v1. C. M. Zheng Shuiying was so scared that she almost sat on the ground. The 5th prince was usually warm like the sun, but this was the first time she had seen such a sinister side of him. Princess Shiyu saw that the situation was not right and bowed to the 5th prince. Then, she asked the maid to help the terrified Zheng Shuiying leave in a hurry. Yun Jichen, who was standing behind the 5th prince, had a flash in his eyes. He had not expected that his 9th sister would be so interesting. Not only did she dare to reject the national advisor, but now the 5th prince had also rejected her. Was it because she was ignorant and fearless, or was it because her lover was more outstanding than these 2 people? Pan, the end is 0, v, e1 at this moment. He also understood the meaning behind the 5th prince's previous words. It seemed that the 5th prince intended to marry his 9th sister and gradually take over the Yun family's army. This would greatly benefit him in ascending to the throne. It had to be said that in terms of scheming, the 5th prince was much stronger than the crown prince. After a moment, the 5th prince's expression returned to normal. He smiled and said to Yun Jichen, your 9th sister is different from the rest. This prince's interest in her is growing. Yun Jichen, he smiled. The 5th prince is joking. 9th sister may have just arrived at Towering Sky Continent, so she is not very sensible and offended your highness. I hope your highness does not mind. The 5th prince gave Yun Jichen a deep look. Jichen, why do I feel that you are not very supportive of me pursuing your 9th sister? The smile on Yun Zichen's face did not diminish. Your highness, you are thinking too much. It is her fortune that you have taken a fancy to little Jio. You are just afraid that she is not sensible and will annoy you. Moreover, she had previously rejected the imperial preceptor. If you really asked to marry little Jiao, I'm afraid that the emperor might not necessarily agree to it out of consideration for the imperial preceptor's face. The fifth prince frowned. This was indeed a problem. He had to test the imperial tutor and his father's attitude first. Yun Chujiao brought Xihua and Xishui to eat and drink. After buying a lot of food, she rode the giant rabbit back to the Yun mansion. As soon as she entered the Yun mansion, a maid came over and said, "Ninth miss, the old princess has asked for you to come over." Yun Chujiao sneered in her heart. It was probably that little bitch Shiyu who had complained. Just jump around, you won't be able to jump around for more than a few days anyway. Yun Chujiao let Xihua and Xishui return to the courtyard first while she jumped into the old imperial consort's courtyard by herself. As soon as she entered the house, she saw that Jing Shi and Princess Shiyu were both there. The old imperial consort sat on the main seat with a gloomy expression. "Grandmother, I bought your favorite almond cake and Zhang Jis shortbread. I waited for a long time before I bought them. They're still warm now, please try them." Hei Xinjiao smiled and came to the old imperial consort's side and said. The old consort's expression immediately eased up. Seeing this, Zheng Shi hurriedly said, "Little Jiao, I heard from Shiyu that you spent 25 million upper-grade spirit stones to buy 5 puppets. Is that true?" Yun Chujiao nodded. "Yes, that's true. And it's good that you're here. Please report the bill to me. I haven't enjoyed the treatment of a miss of the Yun mansion for so many years, so I'll treat it as a one-time compensation. I won't mind if I suffer or not." Zheng Shi's face stiffened. She had never expected Yun Chujiao to say that. "Little Jiao, it's not that first aunt doesn't want you to spend money, but even if we have money, it's not the way to spend it, is it? 25 million to buy 5 puppets is simply not worth it." Yun Chujia's face revealed a slightly mocking expression. "First aunt, why do you think I buy puppets? Of course, it's to protect myself. I'm so weak and people often want my life. Of course, I have to spend a lot of money to buy some things to protect myself. Although the puppets are weak, the materials used to make these 5 puppets are very hard. At least they can buy me some time to escape. In my eyes, my little life is much more important than spirit stones." When the old imperial consort heard Yun Chujiao say this, the anger on her face immediately turned into pity and guilt. She said, "Boss, little Jiao is right. She has been living on the streets all these years. Not to mention spending 25 million, even spending 100 million is not excessive. You should pay her back." Zheng Shi was so angry that she almost vomited blood. She had originally come to settle the score with Yun Chujiao, and at the same time, brought out the source of her spirit stones so that she could teach the old imperial consort not to favor Yun Chujiao. She did not expect that before she had the time to do so, she would have to use the public accounts to reimburse this bitch with 25 million high-grade spirit stones. Zheng Shi's expression was stiff as she said, "Mother, 25 million is not a small amount. If we reimburse little Jiao, I'm afraid the other 3 branches will have objections." The old imperial consort snorted coldly, "If anyone has objections, let him come to me. Little Jiao's monthly salary for so many years is not just this amount. Since the money is for little Jiao, she can spend it however she wants. What objections do they have?" Zheng Shi's face was flushed red from the rebuke. She could only clench her teeth and say to Yun Chujiao, "Since that's the case, little Jiao, you can go to the accounts room later to withdraw the spirit stones." Yun Chujiao said with a smile, "Then thank you very much, aunt. I knew that aunt was sensible and would not mistreat this niece of mine." Zheng Shi and Princess Shiyu said a few more words without embarrassment, and then left in embarrassment. Seeing that Zheng Shi and her mother had left, Yun Chujiao hugged the old imperial consort's arm and said, "I knew that grandmother would not blame little Jiao. Grandmother is the best." The old imperial consort pulled a long face. She glared at her. "You are really too willful. Puppets are really useless. Sigh, but since you like them, just buy them." "Oh right, where did you get so much money? Didn't you say that you only had 10 million in your hand?" Hei Xinjiao giggled. "Grandmother, isn't this not revealing your wealth? I still have some money. In the future, whatever you like, I will help you buy it back. Your granddaughter is really rich. The old princess poked her forehead with her finger and scolded her with a smile, but she didn't take it to heart. She felt that Yun Chujio said that she was rich, but she only had a few tens of millions at most. How much money could a little girl have? On the other side, Zheng Shi and Princess Shiyu were not in such a good mood. Princess Shiyu gritted her teeth and said, "Mother, what should we do? That slut is getting more and more arrogant. That old fool will give all her money to that slut sooner or later." Zheng Shi said coldly, "Don't be impatient. If there's a suitable opportunity, Mother will naturally kill that bitch." The mother and daughter spoke for a while more. Nanny's son came in from outside and wanted to say something but hesitated. Zheng Shi frowned. "What's the matter?" "Madam," the informant beside the prince said that the prince has been getting close to a woman called Su Lianxin recently. "That woman looks a little like Lady Yi," Nanny's son said carefully. Zheng Shi immediately threw the teacup on the ground. He's really infatuated. He couldn't find the main person, so he found a substitute. "Immediately bring someone to capture that little slut person for me," Granny's son said with difficulty. I'm afraid that he can't be captured. I heard that Su Lian vowed to never obey, so the Lord sent many guards to keep an eye on her, afraid that she would escape." Zheng Shi became even more furious when she heard that. Could. He's really a slut. The more people ignore him, the more he wants to chase the sun. Princess Shiyu saw that Zheng Shi was extremely angry. She hurriedly advised, "Mother, calm down. He's just a slut. Why are you so angry? Father is just trying to get something new. When he gets it, he won't care so much. When the time comes, you can deal with that slut." Zheng Shi's expression softened a little. Then she said to Granny's son, "Send someone to keep an eye on it. If there's any movement, report to me." "Yes." Yun Chujio had just returned to her own courtyard. Before she could play with the puppets, there was a knock on the door. Yun Chujio asked Xihua to open the door. It was Yun Jichen. Yun Jichen was ranked 5th, so Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Fifth brother, why are you looking for me? Are you here to teach me a lesson about spending money?" Yun Jichen smiled. "Your own money, of course you can spend it however you want. I have other matters to discuss with you. Let's talk in the study room." Yun Chujio asked Xihua and Xishui to keep an eye on the outside before entering the study room with Yun Jichen. "Little Jio, you really have guts. What exactly do you want to do to incite my mother to do those things?" Yun Jichen said sternly. He had returned early today. When he was paying his respects to the He clan, when he mentioned Yun Chujio's matter, the He clan hesitated for a moment and decided to tell him about it. That was why he had come looking for Yun Chujio to settle the score. Yun Chujio did not care about Yun Zichen's serious expression at all. She casually sat down on the chair. "Fifth brother, you're so smart, so you naturally know what I want to do. I'm even more curious. Fifth brother, what do you want to do by following the fifth prince?" Yun Jichen did not say anything. He stared coldly at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio's clear eyes did not show any signs of weakness as she stared at him. The two of them looked at each other for a long time before Yun Jichen chuckled and said, as expected of second uncle's daughter, "What a good scheme. You treat our 3 branches like knives. Do you think that our 3 branches are all fools?" Yun Chujio poured a cup of tea for Yun Jichen and said with a smile, "Fifth brother, that's not true. Hasn't third aunt's long-cherished wish been to become consort Yun? As for fifth brother, isn't your heart and soul also focused on becoming the crown prince of the prince's estate, or even the Duke of Yun? Otherwise, why would you have to follow the fifth prince around and work hard? I'm merely helping you guys. Fifth brother, you should be thanking me instead. Why are you still questioning me?" Yun Jichen snorted coldly. "Ninth sister, you are indeed smart, but don't try to be smart. The matter of the East Phoenix Kingdom is not as simple as you think." Yun Chujio took out a spirit fruit and took 2 bites. Only then did she say, "What's not simple about it? Isn't it just that the few members of the imperial family are also keeping an eye on the Yun family army? Isn't it just that the side of the bed doesn't allow others to snore? It's very simple to solve this problem. Wouldn't it be fine if the emperor were fifth brother instead? Yun Jichen was so frightened that he almost fell off his chair. Shut up! What nonsense are you spouting? Yun Chujio said nonchalantly, Fifth brother, what are you nervous about? As the saying goes, the emperor takes turns to be the emperor, so what's wrong with our Yun family doing it? Otherwise, no matter who ascends the throne, they will treat our Yun family as a thorn in their flesh. Since that's the case, let's destroy them and replace them. Yun Jichen looked at Yun Chujio in shock. He never thought that this ninth sister would be so audacious. He followed the fifth prince because he wanted to help the fifth prince ascend to the throne. When that time came, he would be able to control the Yun family. Otherwise, in terms of seniority, the crown prince would never be able to become his. However, overthrowing the throne was something that he did not dare to even think about. After a long while, Yun Jichen finally said, Little Gio, the Lung family is a royal family that has been recognized by the heavens. Even if our Yun family really has the strength to overturn the Lung family, the citizens of the Dongfeng kingdom will not recognize us. Yun Chujio curled her lips. What do you mean by the recognition of the heavens? It's just a few tricks. For example, if there's a big rock somewhere, or if there's a messy note in the fish's stomach, then we'll just have to make a few things. Fifth brother, otherwise, do you think that the royal family is so awesome that they would still be afraid of our Yun family? It's all fake, it's all lies. Yun Jichen was stunned by Yun Chujio's words. He looked at Yun Chujio in a daze. It was the first time he had heard such words. He felt as if he had opened the door to a new world. So, it could be like this? After a long while, Yun Jichen took a sip of tea and calmed down. He then said, But there's still the state preceptor. If the state preceptor helps the royal family, our Yun family has no chance of winning. Pan, de N0, V, E1 Ba. He's just a lecherous old fraud. If he was so powerful, why didn't he unify the four kingdoms? If he was so powerful, why didn't he resurrect the divine phoenix? Only you treat him like a plate of vegetables, a liar who pretends to be a charlatan. Cough cough, cough cough. Yun Jichen almost choked on the tea in his mouth. This was the first time he heard someone say that the national advisor was a lecherous old fraud. Was this ninth sister crazy? Cough cough. Ninth sister, don't spout nonsense. The imperial tutor is the guardian of the divine phoenix. His words carry weight and cannot be disobeyed, Yun Jichen said seriously. Yun Chujio glanced at him. Forget it. Let's ignore him for now. Let me ask you, who do you think will win in the end between the fifth prince and the crown prince? Yun Jichen said without thinking, Of course it will be the fifth prince. The crown prince is headstrong and opinionated. He is no match for the fifth prince at all. Isn't that enough? Do you think a person like the fifth prince will allow an existence like the Yun family to exist? If he ascends to the throne, I'm afraid the first thing he'll do is make an example of our Yun family. Yun Jichen knew that what Yun Chujio said was right. From the matter of the fifth prince wanting to marry Yun Chujio, he could see that the fifth prince was determined to obtain the Yun family army. Once he took control of the Yun family army, naturally, he could not tolerate the existence of the Yun family. Even if everything you said is right, what do you want to do? Yun Chujio threw the fruit core to the side and said with a faint smile, Let's take it one step at a time. Anyway, we have to get rid of Yun Fengjian first, and then let grandfather invite you to be the Duke of Yun. As for the matter of the throne, if you feel that it's a little rash, then maintain a delicate balance and maintain the status quo. However, sooner or later, the royal family will fall out with each other. It's just a matter of time. Oh right, you can use the fifth prince to add fuel to the fire. This way, our plan will be implemented more smoothly. Yun Jichen nodded blankly. Then, the two of them chatted for a while more before Yun Jichen left Yun Chujio's courtyard. After walking for a long distance, Yun Jichen touched his nose. He seemed to have gone to interrogate them. How did it turn out to be a collusion? No working together. Yun Jichin thought of what Yun Chujio had said, and his heart was filled with both fear and excitement. Could he really ascend to that position? The Supreme 9-5 was naturally very attractive, but could it really work? Seeing that Yun Jichin had left, Yun Chujio couldn't wait to take out the 5 puppets. After removing the original puppet disc, she placed the puppet disc with her own spiritual sense inside. The 5 puppets knelt on one knee. "Greetings, Master." Yun Chujio had the experience from last time, so she wasn't too surprised. However, Shi Hua and Shi Shui were scared out of their wits. Didn't they say that the puppets could only passively defend? Why were these 5 still bowing to Miss Jio? Yun Chujio commanded a few puppets to do some things. She found that there was no problem, but she didn't know how strong they were. She wanted to fight with the puppets, but she was afraid that it would cause too much trouble, so she had to put them away. In the next few days, Yun Chujio would either try to gain a good impression of the old prince and the old princess consort, or she would take a stroll on the streets. She looked rather heartless. Zheng Shi and Princess Shiyu snickered behind her back. This country bumpkin was indeed a glutton waiting to die. She was going to kill her sooner or later. On this day, Yun Chujio went to the old princess consort's courtyard to pay her respects. She found that almost all the members of the Yun family were there. She could not help but wonder, did something happen? Yun Chujio listened for quite a while before she finally understood. It turned out that the birthday of the divine phoenix was coming. According to tradition, all unmarried men and women of noble families could go to the divine phoenix valley to pick the fiery fruits that the divine phoenix liked to eat the most. In the end, they would be ranked according to the number of fiery fruits picked by each family. This ranking was not for nothing. The imperial preceptor would reward each family with the divine phoenix stone according to the corresponding ranking. It was said that the divine phoenix stone was formed from the feathers shed by the divine phoenix. Whether it was used to refine weapons or pills, it was an extremely precious material. Therefore, every clan in the East Phoenix country attached great importance to the annual fiery fruit picking. Yun Chujio was not interested in this. She was not willing to pick any bullshit fiery fruit. Maybe when the time came, those 2 little bastards, Zheng Shi and Princess Shiyu, would cause some trouble. If she went, wouldn't she be walking into a trap? Therefore, after the old royal highness and the old consort had finished talking, she said with a smile, "Grandfather, grandmother, can I not go? Im's such a waste. If I go, I'll be dragging everyone down. I'll stay at home with grandfather and grandmother." The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. This fellow really knew his own limits. However, it was also true. If she went, she would have to divert her attention to take care of her. It was better not to let her go. The old imperial consort was also worried that Yun Chujio would be in danger, so she scolded jokingly, "Since you want to be lazy, then don't go." Yun Chujio beamed with joy and thanked him. She thought to herself that she would let these idiots go look for broken fruits. If she had the time, she might as well study the newly bought talisman seal. Unexpectedly, 3 days later, in the morning when everyone was about to set off, the imperial edict arrived. The gist of it was that because Yun Chujio was willing to sacrifice herself to the divine phoenix last time, she had to go pick the fiery fruit this time. Yun Chujio's heart was like a mutt. She felt that this was definitely the imperial preceptor's idea. How did she offend that fraud? There was no other way. Because the incident happened so suddenly, it was too late for Hei Shinjio to pretend to be sick. She could only follow everyone to the Divine Phoenix Valley. The Divine Phoenix Valley was not far from the city, so everyone arrived at the Divine Phoenix Valley very quickly. There were many onlookers outside the valley. Some were commoners, while others were nobles. Everyone's attention was on Hei Shinjio. This was because everyone was riding a wildebeest, and only this one was riding a big rabbit. Hei Shinjio did not care about these gazes. She jumped off the big rabbit and looked around curiously. The entrance of the Divine Phoenix Valley was foggy. It was probably not time yet, so the valley entrance was not open yet. Just as Yun Chujio was looking around, the 5th prince walked over. "9th miss, after you enter, follow me. I'll protect you." Yun Chujio said indifferently, I want trouble the fifth prince. It's better for me to follow my brothers and sisters. After all, this is related to the honor of the family. I have to do my best. Seeing this, the fifth prince did not say anything more and turned to leave. Yun Shiluo, the fourth son of the Yun family, curled her lips and said sourly, what you say is better than what you sing. When the time comes, it would be good enough if you don't drag us down. That's right. You have a seductive face and you flirt all over the place. How shameless! Yun Xian from the Yun family's fifth branch echoed. Princess Shiyu sneered in her heart. This Yun Chujio was really not well liked. Once she entered, if she had the chance, she would kill her directly. Yun Jifeng, the crown prince of the Yun family, snorted coldly. Enough. This harvest concerns the reputation of our Yun family. If anyone drags down or causes trouble, don't blame me for being impolite. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes in her heart. This Yun Jifeng was really an idiot, putting on airs in front of his brothers and sisters. Even if someone like him could inherit the throne, he would still be replaced by Yun Jichen in the end. After a while, the thick fog at the entrance of the valley finally dispersed, and everyone rushed into the divine Phoenix Valley. The Yun family was naturally led by Yun Jifeng and Princess Shiyu. The men surrounded Yun Jifeng, while the women surrounded Princess Shiyu. Yun Chujio strolled around in the back indifferently. She didn't expect Yun Shilian from the third room to slow down and walk side by side with her. Yun Shilian said in a low voice, Little Jio, don't worry. Big brother and I will protect you. Yun Chujio smiled sweetly. Thank you very much, eighth sister. Yun Shilian looked at Yun Chujio's smiling little face and thought, no wonder the Grand Tutor and the fifth prince have taken a fancy to little Jio, Pan, de N0, the E1. This little Jio was really good-looking, especially when she smiled. It was so dazzling that it made people unable to open their eyes. The deeper they walked into the divine Phoenix Valley, the higher the temperature was, Yun Shilian explained, Little Jio, because the divine Phoenix Valley is a place where the divine phoenix is at its nirvana. It was once roasted by the nirvana fire, so the temperature is higher the deeper you go in. This is the only place in the towering sky continent that is suitable for the growth of the fire fruit. Yun Chujio's heart moved and she asked, Eighth sister, since there was nirvana fire here, then is there a nirvana pearl? Yun Shilian didn't have the time to answer. Yun Shilian said with a sharp tone, TSKSK, I didn't expect that a country bumpkin like you would know about the nirvana pearl. It's really impressive. However, do you think that the nirvana pearl can be produced just like a cabbage? That's right. Don't speak if you're short-sighted. Otherwise, you'll lose the Yun family, Yun Shiyan echoed. Yun Chujio smiled and glanced at the two of them. Then she raised her voice and said, Sister Shiyu, the two of them are scolding me. Help me make a decision. Princess Shiyu was originally gloating at the misfortune of Yun Chujio, but she didn't expect Yun Chujio to suddenly ask her to make a decision. She couldn't help but be stunned. Sister Shiyu, everyone in the East Phoenix Kingdom knows that you are virtuous and virtuous. You want to protect them, right? Everyone had heard what they had just said. They were blaming me for nothing. I don't want to live anymore. Hey, Shinjio said as she took out a handkerchief to wipe away her tears. She threw herself into Yun Zillian's arms and began to cry. Those who entered the divine Phoenix Valley were all sons of noble families. They were all very interested in the matters of the Yun residents, so many people quickly gathered. Princess Shiyu was so angry that she gritted her teeth. However, with so many people watching, she could only pretend to be fair. She said unhappily, Shiluo Shiyen, although you two are kind-hearted and want to help little Jio, your tone is a little too rushed. Why aren't you apologizing to little Jio? Yun Chujio sneered in her heart. This Princess Shiyu really knew how to talk. Now that she said it, it seemed like she was being unreasonable. She said in a muffled voice, It's fine to be a little impatient, but they called me a country bumpkin. How am I a country bumpkin? How am I a country bumpkin? Sob sob. Yun Shiluan naturally knew that Princess Shiyu was speaking up for her, So she said fearlessly, "Aren't you a country bumpkin who came from a low-grade continent?" "What, did I say something wrong?" Yun Xian echoed from the side, "That's right. We were kind enough to explain your doubts, but you still complained. How shameless." Ending, one Yun Chujio said while crying, "I only found out today that sister said that sister is a country bumpkin out of kindness. It turns out that sister was right to say that sister is shameless. I don't dare to leave the courtyard again in the future to avoid being bullied to death." The onlookers pointed at each other. Even a fool could see that the position of the ninth miss of the Yun family in the Yun mansion was very awkward, and it was obvious that she was not liked. The crown prince of the Yun family, Yun Jifeng, saw that there were more and more people around and shouted angrily, "Enough! Don't you think it's embarrassing enough? If anyone dares to make trouble again, you should leave the Yun family's team so that you won't affect the picking of the fiery fruits." Yun Shilian and Yun Xian immediately shrank their necks and glared at Yun Chujio fiercely. Then, they took a few steps closer to Princess Shiyu and went to curry favor with her again. Yun Shilian patted Yun Chujio twice, then she comforted her, "Little Jio, don't be sad. They don't mean what they say. There are other wild fruits in the Divine Phoenix Valley besides the fiery fruit. I'll ask brother to pick some for you. The taste is really good." "Really? Then let's go quickly." Hei Shinjio immediately jumped up and down, and there was not a drop of tears on her face. Yun Shilian, so this guy was pretending just now? As they went deeper into the Divine Phoenix Valley, the temperature became higher and higher. The people's foreheads began to be covered with fine beads of sweat. Only Hei Shinjio was leisurely doing nothing. Yun Shilian was secretly amazed. This little Jio was resistant to heat, but it was also true. The fire didn't burn her to death, so she was naturally not afraid of the heat. Yun Jichen picked some wild fruits and gave them to the girls. Yun Jifeng coldly reprimanded, "Fifth brother, our mission this time is to pick the fiery fruits. Don't waste your time." Yun Jichen gently said, "Got it, big brother." Yun Chujio snickered in her heart as she ate the wild fruits. This Yun Jifeng really knew how to act cool. He deserved to be schemed against by Yun Jichen. After walking for a while, Yun Shilua exclaimed, "Look! Fiery fruit!" Yun Chujio looked in the direction that Yun Shilua pointed and saw a red patch on a tree in the distance. Each fruit was the size of a fist and looked very adorable. As they got closer and closer, Yun Chujio could already smell the rich fragrance of the fruit. "Master, it smells so good. Can you make some for me to taste?" Xiao Hanio said pitifully. Yun Chujio wiped the drool that was about to fall down. "Don't worry. When I get it, we can eat it to our heart's content." This guy didn't care about the divine phoenix stone. "Let's eat it to our heart's content first." When they were about to get close to the fiery tree, several fiery red snakes climbed down from the tree. On their heads were fiery red meat crowns, hissing and spitting out their tongues. It was obvious that they were not easy to provoke. Yun Shilian whispered to Yun Chujio, "This is a fiery red-crowned snake. Although its spiritual power is only at level 49, which is equivalent to a cultivator at level 3 to 4 of the spiritual fantasy realm, it is highly poisonous. Moreover, it is a demon beast that lives in groups and is very difficult to deal with. Later, you can just watch from the back to avoid hurting you." "What if you are poisoned?" Yun Chujio asked curiously. "We all have the antidote on us. However, even if we take the antidote, we will lose more than half of our spiritual power. Basically, we won't be able to fight anymore, so we must not let it bite us," Yun Shilian said. Yun Shilian handed Yun Chujio a porcelain bottle. "The antidote to the fiery red-crowned snake is inside the bottle. Keep it well. If you get bitten, take one immediately." Yun Chujio nodded. No matter what Yun Zillian's motive was, at least they were allies now. It was not bad for them to be on good terms for the time being. Soon, Yun Jifeng and the others started fighting with the fiery red-crowned snake. Hei Shinjio naturally would not rush up foolishly. She hid far away and observed the situation in front of her. This guy thought to himself, no wonder they were using the family as a unit. There were more than a dozen fiery red-crowned snakes on this fiery tree. If there were fewer people, there would be no way to deal with them. Yun Chujio pondered for a moment. According to Yun Shilian, the fiery red-crowned snake was equivalent to a human's 3rd to 4th level spirit illusion. Looking at the situation, Yun Jifeng and the other spiritual power levels should be around the 3rd to 5th level spirit illusion. In comparison, she was indeed very weak. Yun Chujio also discovered that Yun Jifeng and the others used their spiritual power to attack and did not release their spiritual beasts. What was the reason? Wouldn't it be more convenient to release their spiritual beasts? Moreover, they could avoid being poisoned. Were they stupid? However, Yun Chujio knew that she was new here and did not know many things. There must be some other reasons. Hei Shinjio felt that it was not good for her to just stand there. If she did not put in any effort, she would be too embarrassed to share the fiery fruits later. Therefore, this guy stretched his neck and shouted, "Brothers and sisters, do your best. I will support you spiritually. Go. Hurry up. Kill one and you will lose one. Hurry up. Otherwise, the other families will harvest more than us. Put in more effort." Yun Shiluo and the others were so angry that they gritted their teeth. This damn country bumpkin. She was light-footed, standing there without putting in any effort. It was really hateful. However, now was obviously not the time to care about these things. After an hour, the Yun family finally killed all the fiery red-crowned snakes on this fiery fruit tree. Everyone impatiently began to pick the fiery fruit. Hei Shinjio shamelessly went up to pick the fruit as well. Seeing that no one objected, this fellow could not help but feel happy. It seemed that it was not bad to make up the numbers. Unexpectedly, after all the fruits on the tree had been picked, Yun Jifeng said, "Everyone, hand over the fiery fruits to me. I will preserve them all." As Yun Jifeng spoke, he took out a bamboo basket. Everyone put the fruits in it. Hei Shinjio also put the fruits in the bamboo basket, but this fellow secretly left too. This guy thought that since there was no specific number of the fruits, no one would know that she left too. Unexpectedly, Yun Shiluo said with a sneer, "Yun Chujio, I clearly saw you pick 8 fruits. Why did you only give me 6? Wasn't it embarrassing to be found out by others? If it were an ordinary person, they would have long found a hole to hide in." However, Hei Shinjio obviously did not know what integrity was. She said with a smile, "Sister Shiluo, you really have sharp eyes. I did leave 2 fruits. Because I have never seen the fiery fruits before, I plan to observe them carefully." Yun 11 Luo snorted coldly, "Don't tell me you want to hide these fruits and sell them? I'll tell you the truth. Selling the fiery fruits privately in the Dongfeng Kingdom is a capital offense. Just give up on that idea." Heaven and earth, how would I dare to have such an idea? I'm really just curious. Yun Chujio held back her saliva and put the 2 fiery fruits into the bamboo basket. Hei Shinjio watched Yun Jifeng put the bamboo basket into his storage ring and sighed in her heart. Sigh, she couldn't be blamed for this. She didn't put in any effort, so it seemed a little shameless to steal the fruits. Xiao Hanio couldn't help but roll his eyes. Have you done enough shameless things? Now you have a conscience. I really want to eat the fruit. Why is it broken? Hei Shinjio had been caught by Yun Shiluo and the others for stealing the fruit, so she was naturally mocked and ridiculed. This guy was thick-skinned and pretended not to hear it. This guy was thinking in his heart, how can I get some fruit to taste? These people were guarding against her as if she was a thief. They did not even need her to pick the fruit. Now, she could not even touch it, let alone eat it. Yun Shilian saw her sighing and said, "Little Jio, what's wrong?" Yun Chujio obviously would not say that she was greedy for the fruit. Instead, she shamelessly said, "Eighth sister, all of you can contribute to the Yun family. I'm just a glutton. I feel a little guilty." Yun Shilua pouted and said, "At least you still have some conscience. If you don't cause trouble for us, we will be burning incense." Yun Chujio didn't say anything. Who asked this fellow to be in the wrong? Seeing that Yun Chujio didn't say anything, Yun Shiluo felt that it was meaningless. It was like a heavy punch hitting cotton. She felt embarrassed. As the Divine Phoenix Valley was open for a total of 9 days, the members of the Yun family found a cave to rest in the evening. After eating some dry rations, Yun Jifeng and Princess Xiu discussed the arrangements for the night shift. After the announcement, everyone began to rest. Xiao Hanio mumbled in the spirit beast pouch as if he was reciting scriptures, "I want to eat the fiery fruit. I want to eat the fiery fruit. I want to eat the fiery fruit. Damn it, shut up. Do you think I don't want to eat it? But the snake was killed by someone else, and the fruit was picked by someone else. What can I do?" Hei Shinjio said fiercely. Xiao Hanio blinked its green bean-like eyes and said, "Master, although the spiritual power of the fiery red-crowned snake is higher than yours, you are not afraid of poison. Let's act alone. I guarantee that we can eat until we are full." Hei Xinjia's heart moved, but she thought about it and realized that it was impossible. Although she was not afraid of the fiery red-crowned snake, there were other demonic beasts in the Divine Phoenix Valley. Any one of them could kill her, so she could not take the risk just for a mouthful of food. That would be too stupid. Yun Chujio shared her thoughts. Xiao Hanio drooped its head and did not say a word. It recalled the incident with the Nirvana Pearl. Last time, Di Baiming, that jinx, almost killed it. If the fiery fruit really put the little girl in danger this time, when that jinx came out, it would definitely be killed. In the next few days, Yun Chujio could do nothing but shout for support. However, she did not do anything to slow it down. Yun Shiluo and the others directly ignored her and did not find trouble with her. On this day, the people of the Yun family heard the sounds of fighting from afar. They also heard the crown prince's cry for help. "Help! Help! Come quickly!" The people of the Yun family took a closer look. There were a few corpses on the ground. The crown prince and a few guards were fighting with a huge monster. The crown prince and the 4 princes were allowed to bring 10 guards each, but each guard's spiritual power level had to be below the 5th layer of the illusionary realm. The number of fiery fruits at the end was also a symbol of strength. Therefore, the crown prince and the princes were secretly competing with each other. Yun Jifeng cried out in surprise, "It's actually a level 52 red mandrill. How can there be such a high-level demon beast in the Divine Phoenix Valley?" The crown prince, Lungtani, shouted in exasperation, "Why aren't you guys coming to save me? What nonsense are you spouting?" Yun Jifeng finally came to his senses and quickly ordered the members of the Yun family to come forward and help. The faces of the members of the Yun family were solemn. A level 52 Chi Mang was equivalent to a cultivator in the 9th layer of the spiritual illusion realm. Even if all of them were added together, they might not be a match for it. However, they had to save the crown prince. Otherwise, they would be exterminated if they went out. The only hope they had now was that other families would come over. This way, they might be able to force Qi Shao to retreat. Hei Shinjio could not be of much help. She climbed up a crooked tree and craned her neck to look around. Unfortunately, there was no one in sight. It seemed that there would be no reinforcements for a while. Yun Chujio did not know much about the demonic beasts of the towering sky continent, so she did not know what weaknesses the Qi Shao had. She could only stretch her neck and shout, "You guys should attack its weakness instead. It's a waste of spiritual energy to attack it randomly." Yun Shilua shouted unhappily, "What do you know? If we knew its weakness, how could we not attack it?" Yun Chujio pouted. "The weakness of a demon beast is nothing more than its eyes, its back, and its courtyard. Why don't you just attack these 2 areas? You're so stupid." Everyone was furious. "You're still making sarcastic remarks without helping us. How hateful." However, when they thought about what she said, it made sense. Therefore, the focus of everyone's attack was on Qi Shao's eyes, its back, and its courtyard. They didn't know if it was a lucky hit, but Qi Shao seemed to be very afraid of these 2 places and slowly fell into a disadvantage. Qi Shao glared fiercely at Hei Shinjio, who was on the crooked tree. This damn girl was really hateful. Even if it couldn't eat others today, it would eat her to vent its anger. Therefore, when Qi Shao saw that it was no match for her, It suddenly kicked its back leg and broke the crooked tree with a claw. It carried He Xinjiu and disappeared with a whoosh. Yun Jichen cried out in surprise, "Little Jiu!" just as Yun Jichen and Yun Shilian were about to chase after Qishao. Princess Shiyu said sorrowfully and helplessly, "I'm afraid that little Jiu has already been eaten by Qishao. If we go, it will be a waste of our lives. Moreover, more than half of the Crown Prince's guards are dead and injured. Protecting the Crown Prince is more important." But, are we just going to watch as Qishao is captured by Qishao? Are we just going to let him die? What if Qishao isn't dead? Yun Shilian said with slightly red eyes. Although they had only been together for a few days, she still sincerely treated Yun Chujio as her younger sister and doted on her. Princess Shiyu avoided Yun Zilian's eyes and looked at the Crown Prince, Leng Tianche. Leng Tianche naturally did not want to look for Yun Chujio. Putting aside whether it was worth saving that country bumpkin, just for the sake of safety, he also did not want to face that Qishao again. Therefore, he was very satisfied with Princess Shiyu's words just now. As expected of the woman he valued, they were indeed on the same side. Seeing that Princess Shiyu did not look at her, Yun Shilian looked at Yun Jifeng. After all, Yun Jifeng was the one who kept his word. He would not leave her to die. Who would have thought that Yun Jifeng would frown? Shiyu is right. Little Jiu is basically dead. Since that's the case, we naturally put the safety of the Crown Prince first. Yun Shilian then looked at Yun Shilian and the others. Everyone avoided her gaze. Clearly, they did not intend to save Yun Chujio. Yun Shilian could only look at her brother, Yun Jichen. At this moment, Yun Zichen's heart was very conflicted. He naturally wanted to save Yun Chujio. Whether it was family ties or partners, he did not want Yun Chujio to lose her life. However, the current situation was obvious. Whether it was the Crown Prince or Yun Jifeng and the others, they did not want to save Yun Chujio. Just him and Yun Shilian alone would not be able to save Yun Chujio, they might even lose their lives. Yun Jichen could only shake his head at Yun Shilian. Yun Zilian's eyes turned even redder. Could it be that she could only watch them die? At this moment, another group of people came from afar. Yun Jichen saw them and his heart skipped a beat. Perhaps there was a turning point. The person who came was the fifth prince, followed by 10 guards. The fifth prince walked closer and saw the corpses on the ground and the sorry state everyone was in. He asked in puzzlement, "Royal brother, what happened?" The Crown Prince said snappily, "We encountered a level 52 Qishao. What bad luck." The fifth prince was stunned. Qishao? Didn't they say that the highest level demon beast in the Divine Phoenix Valley is only level 50? Why would a Qishao appear? The Crown Prince snorted. "How would I know? If it wasn't for Shiyu and the others, I'm afraid that I would be in deep trouble. You wouldn't be hiding somewhere else and deliberately didn't come to save me, would you?" The fifth prince had a helpless look on his face. "Royal brother, how can you say that? If I had seen it, I wouldn't have left it to die." The Crown Prince snorted and didn't say anything. The fifth prince swept his gaze across the crowd and frowned. He looked at Yun Jichen. "Where's your ninth sister? Isn't she with you guys?" Yun Jichen had a sorrowful expression on his face. "Your Highness, when that crimson mandrill escaped, it took little Nine away. I originally wanted to save her, but..." Yun Jichen did not continue. The fifth prince's eyes flashed and he understood the general situation. He clenched his fists. After a moment of silence, he said, "Which direction did that Qishao go? I'll go and take a look. Perhaps Ninth Miss is still alive due to her great fortune." Yun Shilian immediately said, "I know the direction. I'll take you there." The fifth prince nodded. "Then I'll have to trouble Eighth Miss. There's no time to lose. Let's go." Yun Jichen looked troubled. Then he said to Yun Jifeng, "Big brother, I'm worried about Shilian. I'll go and take a look too." Yun Jifeng's face was gloomy. It was obvious that he was very dissatisfied with the actions of Yun Jichen and Yun Shilian. They didn't take him seriously at all and openly disobeyed his orders. He said unhappily, "Fifth brother, Shilian, you have to know that our mission is to protect the Crown Prince and protect the Yun Mansion's honor. You know that there's no need to save little Gio. Why must you insist on doing it? If you go, don't come back to our team. Yun Jichen looked hurt, but he still said, no matter what, I'll go with Shilian to take a look. I'm sorry, big brother. After saying that, Yun Jichen bowed to the crown prince, and then quickly chased after the fifth prince. Princess Shiyu's eyes flashed, and then she said, Your Highness, you don't have to mind. Fifth brother is usually close to the fifth prince, so it's normal for him to follow. The crown prince's expression instantly darkened. Yun Jichen still had the Prince of Pieces estate behind him, and the fifth prince was planning everything according to his wishes. Unfortunately, although the Prince of Pieces estate was not small, it could not be compared to the Prince of Yun's estate at all, and it could not even be compared to the Yun family army. He really had the wrong plan. After Yun Jichen caught up with the fifth prince and Yun Shilian, he sighed. Your Highness, we said that we were going to save little Nine, but, sighed. The fifth prince nodded in understanding. I know even if you didn't tell me. Ninth miss is very lucky. I don't think there's really anything wrong. Let's hurry over. The fifth prince and the others chased after Qishao. At first, they could still find Qishao's footprints, but later, they lost track of him. They searched for 2 whole days, but they still could not find Qishao or Yun Chujio. They felt that Yun Chujio should not be able to survive. Both the fifth prince and Yun Jichen were very depressed, especially the fifth prince. He had already tested Martial Emperor Sheng's attitude. Not only did Martial Emperor Sheng not stop him from marrying Yun Chujio, but he also seemed to be very supportive of him, therefore he was very ambitious. He felt that as long as he married Yun Chujio and helped Yun Jichen ascend to the position of king of the Yun family army would be in his hands sooner or later. When that time came, the throne would be at his fingertips. As for the king of the Yun's mansion, he would think of ways to disrupt their strength in the future. Without the Yun family army, the king of the Yun's mansion would be nothing. Who would have thought that Yun Chujio would die just like that? What bad luck. However, the fifth prince quickly adjusted his state of mind. There were still 3 days before the Divine Phoenix Valley would close, so it was more important to pick the fiery fruits. Therefore, the fifth prince and the others stopped looking for Qishao and began to pick the fiery fruits wholeheartedly. Yun Jichen was naturally tactful. He and Yun Shilian handed the fiery fruits they picked to the fifth prince. Anyway, Yun Jichen had already expelled them from the Yun family's team, so they did not have to worry about anything anymore. Suddenly, the fifth prince and the others were surprised to find that the demon beasts in the Divine Phoenix Valley were running toward the Divine Phoenix Valley like crazy. When these demon beasts passed by the fifth prince and the others, they didn't even pause, as if they didn't see them. At the same time, the fifth prince and the others saw the flames rising in the distance, which were hundreds of feet high. Nirvana Pearl. The Nirvana Pearl must have appeared. The fifth prince suddenly said with surprise and joy. The fifth prince was overjoyed. Not only did the Nirvana Pearl have great benefits for the cultivation of fire-type demonic beasts, but it was also very beneficial for the cultivation of fire-type spiritual roots. This was simply a great good thing. If he received it and gave it to his father, he would definitely be able to win his father's favor. This would be a great help for him to ascend to the position of crown prince. When the fifth prince thought of this, he hurriedly said, "Let's hurry over to prevent others from getting there first." Yun Jichen frowned and said, "Your Highness, although the Nirvana Pearl is precious, you have also seen it. Almost all the fire-type demonic beasts in the Divine Phoenix Valley have run over. When that time comes, it will definitely be a chaotic battle. Is it worth taking this risk?" The fifth prince's excited mood immediately calmed down. Not only were these demonic beasts difficult to deal with, but the crown prince would probably also go over. When that time came, if he were to threaten him not to fight with him for the Nirvana Pearl, there was nothing he could do. When the fifth prince thought of this, he immediately lost his previous excitement. However, he still said, "It's good for us to go over and watch the show. At most, we'll be at the periphery of the demonic beasts. If the situation is not good, we'll just retreat." Perhaps we'll be able to see the scarlet mandrill there. Yun Jichen nodded. Then we should also stay further away. Since the scarlet mandrill has appeared here, there might be other high-level demonic beasts. The fifth prince nodded, and everyone rushed toward the place where the flames were rising. Most of the people in the East Phoenix country had fire spirit roots. Although many people knew that the Nirvana pearl would not fall into their hands, they still ran towards the place where the flames rose. On the way, the fifth prince and the others met the crown prince and Princess Shiyu. The crown prince saw that Yun Chujio was not in the team. He could not help but say coldly, "Fifth brother, how is it? I told you that Yun Chujio would not survive, right? You still insisted on saving her. You didn't manage to save her, did you?" The fifth prince shook his head helplessly. "We didn't even discover that Qi Shao, let alone Miss Gio." The crown prince glanced at the fifth prince and said, "The Nirvana pearl should have appeared in front of us. This Nirvana pearl belongs to me. Don't think of anything." The fifth prince smiled bitterly again. "Royal brother, you're worrying too much. How would we dare to snatch it from you? It's just that the demon beasts of the Divine Phoenix Valley have all come over. You should be thinking about how to snatch the Nirvana pearl from the hands of those demon beasts." The crown prince clearly did not consider the demon beasts. Hearing the fifth prince's words, his expression immediately became very ugly. If the demon beasts of the Divine Phoenix Valley were all gathered there, he would not be able to obtain the Nirvana pearl at all. He could only look at the pearl and sigh. When everyone arrived at the place where the flames were rising, they discovered that it was already filled with demonic beasts. Moreover, there was no lack of high-level demonic beasts. The crown prince's heart immediately turned cold. Forget about snatching the Nirvana pearl, they did not dare to get too close. It seemed that the Divine Phoenix Valley had always had high-level demonic beasts. They only did not come out normally. This time, the Nirvana pearl appeared, so they all came out. This could also explain why they met that Qi Shao. The senses of demon beasts were much stronger than that of humans. The Qi Shao probably sensed that the Nirvana pearl was about to appear, so it came out from the depths of the Divine Phoenix Valley. When everyone was looking around, they saw a huge creature running over from another direction. It was the Qi Shao that had attacked them previously. However, what was that thing on the back of Qi Shao? Everyone rubbed their eyes and looked closely. They saw a little girl sitting on the back of Qi Shao. There seemed to be something hidden in her sleeves. She was eating leisurely. "Yes, it's that country bumpkin Yun Chujio. She's not dead." Yun Shiluo exclaimed loudly. Everyone looked at Yun Chujio, who was on Qi Shao's back in shock. Not only was Yun Chujio not eaten by Qi Shao, but she was riding on Qi Shao's back instead. How was this possible? Was that Qi Shao stupid? Princess Shiyu's eyes flashed with a trace of disappointment. She was not dead even like this? This bitch was really lucky. She thought for a moment and shouted, "Little Gio, you're still alive. That's great. Come quickly, it's dangerous inside." Yun Chujio turned to look at her and said faintly, "Sister Shiyu, I was eaten by Qi Shao a long time ago. I'm a ghost now. I died so miserably. I was eaten by Qi Shao until only my bones were left. Sister Shiyu, I've always treated your sister so badly, but you actually didn't save me. I'll go and have a good chat with you tonight." Princess Shiyu was so frightened that she staggered. If Yun Shiluo and Yun Shiyen hadn't held her up, she would have fallen to the ground. However, Yun Shiluo and Yun Shiyen were also slightly trembling. They had also left her in the lurch just now. Could that country bumpkin have gone to look for them tonight? Yun Chujio glanced at the crowd again, then turned her head and sat on Qi Shao's back as she entered the crowd of demon beasts. The surrounding demon beasts were all low-level, so they naturally didn't dare to stop Qi Shao. They let Qi Shao walk all the way to the innermost part of the crowd. The deeper they went, the higher the level of the demon beasts. However, as the Divine Phoenix Valley was closed, the highest level of the demon beasts was level 52 like Qi Shao. When the demon beasts saw Yun Chujio on Qi Shao's back, they were all dumbfounded. Was this Qi Xiao's brain damaged? Why was she carrying a human girl? And the fruit that the little human girl was chewing seemed to taste like fiery fruits? Weren't humans very precious in these fruits? Weren't they reluctant to eat them? Big fatty, put me down. I'll roast meat for you to eat. Yun Chujio threw the core of the fruit into the pit and said to Qi Xiao, Big fatty? Those high-level demonic beasts were stunned at first, then they laughed until they fell back. This name was really too outdated. Qi Xiao's face was already red, and now it was even redder. It gritted its teeth. It didn't want to do this, all right? Qi Xiao recalled the experiences of the past 2 days and wanted to cry. If it knew that this wretched girl was a pervert, it wouldn't have captured her at that time. 2 days ago, He Xinjiu had been cheering from the crooked tree. She had never dreamed that Qi Xiao would suddenly attack her. By the time she reacted, Qi Xiao had already grabbed her clothes and was running wildly. He Xinjiu's heart was like a beeping dog. Why did this damn Qi Xiao attack her? Was it picking on the weak? Qi Xiao wanted to eat Yun Chujio, but it was afraid that the crown prince and the others would chase after it, so it ran all the way until it reached its nest. It then threw Yun Chujio on the ground and prepared to have a good meal. It was not worried that Yun Chujio would run away. Such a weak chicken could not escape from its palm. Yun Chujio tried to fool Qi Xiao, but Qi Xiao did not buy it. He Xinjiu put her hands on her hips. Ugly monster, do you think I'm afraid of you? I gave you a chance just now. Since you don't cherish it, don't blame me for being rude. Qi Xiao let out a strange laugh. This human girl was most likely scared silly by it. Was she the only one who was rude to it? She wasn't afraid of losing her tongue. Yun Chujia's eyes deepened. She could use this mandrill to test her puppet. Even if she couldn't win, there was enough time for her to escape. Therefore, Yun Chujio raised her hand and puppet number 1 was released. Number 1, go and kill it. He Xinjiu said coldly. Qi Xiao took a step back in shock and then curled his lips in disdain. So it was such a thing. Although it looked sturdy, this thing was extremely stupid and was not its match. Qi Xiao's disdain quickly turned into surprise. He did not expect this broken thing to be surprisingly agile. The worst thing was that this broken thing was very sturdy and Qi Xiao's damage to it was extremely limited. However, Qi Xiao knew that the puppet's weakness was its abdomen. Thus, he desperately attacked puppet number 1's abdomen. Puppet number 1 could only protect its abdomen to prevent Qi Xiao from destroying its puppet disc and gradually falling into a disadvantageous position. Qi Xiao was very proud. No matter how powerful this thing was, it was still a dead object. It was not its match at all. Just as Qi Xiao was feeling proud, he heard the little human girl say faintly, Ugly monster, I did not expect you to be so powerful. Since that's the case, I can only gang up on you. Before Qi Xiao could react, another 4 puppets were released. Qi Xiao almost fell to the ground. Damn it, how could he bully a beast like this? Qi Xiao's heart turned cold at that moment. It could still deal with 1 puppet, but now there were 5 of them. Even if it was exhausted to death, it would not be able to defeat them. The 5 puppets beat Qi Xiao up. Just when Qi Xiao thought its life was going to be over, He Xinjiu said with a smile, Ugly monster, let's establish a temporary contract. You take me to pick the fiery fruits. When I get out, I'll let you go. I won't force you. It's your choice. You can either die or establish a contract with me. Qi Xiao almost fainted from anger. How could this not be forced? However, it had no other choice. It could only establish a temporary contract with Yun Chujio and carry He Xinjiu to the depths of the Divine Phoenix Valley to pick the fiery fruits. As there were few people in the depths of the Divine Phoenix Valley, the fiery fruits were older and the fruits were bigger. He Xinjiu was overjoyed. Yun Chujio thought that as long as Qi Xiao took action, the fiery red-crowned snakes would obediently hand over the fruits. She did not expect that although the fiery red-crowned snakes were afraid of Qi Xiao, they would not back down because of their numbers. Therefore, Yun Chujio started to negotiate with the fiery red-crowned snakes. As long as they gave her 10 fiery fruits, she would leave with Qi Xiao. The fiery red-crowned snakes would most likely agree to pay money to avoid disaster. If they didn't agree, He Xinjiu would send 5 puppets out to help Qi Shao deal with the fiery red-crowned snakes. When Qi Shao came back to his senses, Yun Chujiu was already squatting not far from the deep pit and starting to roast meat. The aroma of the roasted meat spread in all directions, causing the demon beasts to drool. Qi Shao immediately felt a little better. In the past 2 days, it had eaten quite a lot of roasted meat from the little girl. Let these country bumpkins be envious and jealous. Yun Chujiu finished roasting half a fan of mutton and started to eat happily with Qi Shao. As she ate, she said, Big fatty, my roasted meat is not bad, right? It's charred on the outside and tender on the inside. It's sizzling and oozing oil. It's simply the best delicacy in the world. Qi Shao was eating happily. His big head nodded. No matter what, this smelly girl's roasting skills were pretty good. The other high-level demon beasts were all drooling. They wanted nothing more than to snatch a piece and have a taste. Yun Chujiu was almost done eating. She glanced at the high-level demon beasts who were eyeing her covetously and said, "Do you guys want to eat roasted meat?" Although those high-level demonic beasts really wanted to eat it, they all pretended to be pretentious and didn't say anything. They felt that lowering their heads just for a mouthful of food was a disgrace to the demeanor of the demonic beasts. They were much more moral than that Qi Shao. Yun Chujiu sighed, "I originally wanted to roast some for you guys. Since you guys don't like it, then forget it." Those high-level demonic beasts were so regretful that their intestines turned green. If they had known this would happen, they wouldn't have had any moral integrity. At this moment, Yun Chujiu said, "Forget it, I'm the kindest person. I'll roast some for you. However, you can't eat it for free. You have to give something in exchange. High-level medicinal herbs or fiery fruits are fine." The high-level demonic beasts hurriedly took out their items. Black-hearted Jiu kept them all into his storage ring and helped the demonic beasts roast the meat. When the crowd outside saw this scene, they felt as if they were in a dream. How could a human make a deal with a demon beast? That country bumpkin traded a few pieces of broken roasted meat for a pile of high-level herbs and fiery fruits? How could they not have gotten more than what she got even if they were to fight to the death? This was fucking ridiculous. The 5th prince looked at Yun Chujiu with a burning gaze. This Yun Chujiu must be extraordinary, or else she wouldn't have subdued Qi Shao. After they left the divine Phoenix Valley, he would issue an imperial decree to marry his father. At that time, she could only obediently marry him. Princess Shiyu glanced at the 5th prince's infatuated gaze and secretly hated him. That damned slut. Not only was she not bitten to death by Qi Shao, but she had also gotten a great bargain. How hateful! Could those demonic beasts have been reincarnated as hungry ghosts? Wasn't it just a few pieces of broken roasted meat? Was there a need to be so greedy? A bunch of idiots. Right at this moment, she heard Yun Chujiu cry out in surprise. Then, she fell into the deep pit and was instantly engulfed by the raging fire. Princess Shiyu was first shocked, then delighted. However, her expression was one of shock and grief. What exactly is going on? Yun Jichen sighed. It seems that when those high-level demonic beasts were fighting over the roasted meat, they accidentally bumped into little Jiu into the fire pit. Yun Jifeng snorted coldly. She brought this upon herself. Just now, Shiyu asked her to come over, but she insisted on going inside. She could only blame herself if she lost her life. When the surrounding people heard Yun Jifeng's words, they all felt that this crown prince Yun was a little too cold and heartless. His cousin had died, but he was not sad, but instead ridiculed her. He was really cold-blooded. However, when everyone thought of Yun Chujiu's awkward situation in the Yun mansion, they felt relieved. No one in the Yun mansion would care about Yun Chujiu's life or death. The 5th prince's eyes were red. Of course, he was not sad for Yun Chujiu, but because his bright future had been destroyed once again. Just as everyone was thinking about it, they were surprised to find that the fire in the fire pit had started to weaken. Could it be that the Nirvana Pearl was about to appear? The high-level demonic beasts widened their eyes and prepared to fight for the Nirvana Pearl as soon as possible. Finally, the fire was extinguished. However, there were no Nirvana Pearls at the bottom of the pit. Instead, there was a little girl looking at them with a smile. The little girl was holding a shovel with a red bead on it. The shovel was melting at a speed visible to the naked eye. The little girl said curiously, "What kind of bead is this? It's actually so hot. Take it and play with it." As Hei Shinjio said that, she threw the spade and the bead far away with all her might. Immediately, all the high-level demon beasts ran toward the bead. Qi Xiao was about to fight for the bead when he heard Hei Shinjio cursing in his spiritual sense, "You dumbass! Hurry up and take me away, or we will both die." Qi Xiao did not understand, but when Yun Chujiu jumped onto its back, it still jumped out at the fastest speed in its life. Hei Shinjio shouted angrily, "Damn fatty! Are you in a hurry to pee? Why are you running?" Qi Xiao gritted its teeth in anger, but it did not dare to disobey Yun Chujiu's order. It brought her along and ran. The high-level beasts were all fighting for the red bead. The low-level beasts did not dare to stop Qi Xiao, so Qi Xiao quickly disappeared into the depths of the Divine Phoenix Valley. After running for a distance, Yun Chujiu could not wait to throw Xiao Heinio on the ground. Qi Xiao was stunned. What the hell was this fat ball-like bird? Xiao Heinio quickly turned into a fireball. Fortunately, with the previous experience, it began to roll around on the ground. Wherever Xiao Heinio rolled, all the grass and trees were instantly turned into ashes. Qi Xiao was so scared that he almost fell to the ground. Could this be the fire of Nirvana? Qi Xiao suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Could it be that what the little girl threw out was not the Nirvana bead, but the real Nirvana bead was swallowed by this fat bird? Qi Xiao was shocked and despised in his heart. These two pets were most likely idiots. Could this Nirvana Pearl be casually swallowed? High-level fire-type demon beasts like them would find it very difficult to endure after swallowing the Nirvana Pearl, not to mention this level 1 fat bird. It was simply courting death. However, this fat bird was quite resistant. Why was it not burned to ashes after such a long time? Qi Xiao's eyes lit up. If this fat bird was burned to death, would the Nirvana Pearl be able to belong to it? If it really couldn't, even if it had to compromise and accept this little girl as its master, it would still be fine. After all, the Nirvana Pearl was a treasure that might not be found even in 10,000 years. When Qi Xiao thought of this, he began to hope that the little black bird would be burned to ashes as soon as possible. This way, he would be able to take advantage of it. Who would have thought that Xiao Heinio would roll around and suddenly become bigger? Her originally round body had become a graceful arc. Although her body was still covered in black feathers, there was an indescribable brilliance and splendor about her. There was also a sense of nobility that looked down on the world. Xiao Heinio raised her neck and let out a loud cry towards the sky. Clang, clang, clang. The phoenix flew and clang, 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 clang. This fat bird was actually a phoenix. Qi Xiao immediately knelt on the ground trembling. Oh God! It was actually a divine phoenix. No wonder this little girl was so abnormal. So it was the master of the divine phoenix. A trace of doubt flashed through Qi Xiao's mind. It was said that the divine phoenix of the Divine Phoenix Valley was a 5-colored phoenix. Why was it only black? Forget it. Regardless of whether it was a 5-colored phoenix or a black phoenix, they were all phoenixes. It was fine as long as it submitted. The demonic beasts and demonic birds in the Divine Phoenix Valley felt a huge pressure. Xiao Heinio's noble bloodline had an absolute suppression on them. All the demonic beasts and demonic birds prostrated on the ground, trembling as they bowed and submitted. It was not only the demonic beasts of the Divine Phoenix Valley who were like this. At the same time, almost all the demonic beasts in the entire towering sky continent knelt and bowed in the direction of the Divine Phoenix Valley at the same time. The ancient godly beasts were the gods of the demon beasts in the world. This kind of reverence flowed in their blood. They had no other choice but to kneel and submit. Hei Shinjio touched her chin. This kind of scene seemed familiar. At this time, Xiao Hei was indeed quite awesome. However, it could only last for a moment. How could she escape later? She had to think of a way to escape. Otherwise, not only those demon beasts, the crown prince and the rest would not let her go either. Hei Xinjiu blinked her eyes and looked around. Then, she walked to the underbrush that had not been burned. She took out a red-feathered peacock egg from the great void mystic realm and cracked it. She placed the cracked side of the egg on the underbrush. Hei Xinjiu took out a few feathers and placed them on the egg. When she was teleported to the Dark Continent, she fell into a large bird nest. When she left, she took some feathers. She did not know what kind of demonic bird it was. It was likely that the people from the towering sky continent had never seen it before. It was a good opportunity to trick them. Qi Xiao looked at Yun Chujia's actions with a dumbfounded expression. What was she trying to do? At this moment, Xiao Heinio returned to its original appearance. To be exact, its body had gained another round of weight. It was more like a ball now. Yun Chujio did not need to ask to know that this fellow had finished acting cool. She ignored Xiao Heinio's fawning look and put it into her storage ring. Then she gave Qi Xiao a few instructions. Qi Xiao's huge eyes were wide open. This fellow was too mean. However, would this work? Yun Chujio did not care what it thought. She walked to the grass that was not affected and lay down on the ground, pretending to be dead. Qi Xiao was stunned for a moment. When he felt the ground shaking, he quickly ran to Yun Chujia's side and lay on the ground, pretending to be dead. A moment later, some high-level demon beasts ran over. The crown prince and the others followed from afar. They were extremely excited. That huge pressure just now should have been released by the divine phoenix. Could it be that the divine phoenix had appeared? Or could it be that a little divine phoenix had appeared? However, even if they wished they could run over and take a look, they could only watch from a distance due to the pressure of those high-level demonic beasts. When those high-level demonic beasts came close, Qi Xiao slowly woke up and used his claws to pull Hei Xinjiu. He thought to himself, "It's about time." Did he really fall asleep? Hei Xinjiu rubbed her eyes and jumped up immediately. She pointed at the scorched grassland in the distance and exclaimed, "Phoenix! I saw a phoenix just now. Why is it gone?" Qi Xiao's eyes twitched for a moment, and then he revealed a dazed expression. He cried out a few times to show his surprise and confusion. Seeing this, the high-level demon beasts roared at Qi Xiao and Hei Xinjiu. Their intention was self-evident. They wanted Qi Xiao and Hei Xinjiu to tell them what had happened. They fought for the red bead for a long time. Later, they found out that it was just a broken stone. They were so angry that they almost died. Yun Chujio looked puzzled. Big Fatty told me that when you were fighting for the bead, it suddenly needed to pee. It was a decent beast. Naturally, it was embarrassed to do that in public. So, it carried me all the way. I didn't expect. When Yun Chujio said this, a look of infatuation appeared on her face. I didn't expect that we would actually see the phantom of a divine phoenix there. You guys didn't see it. The divine phoenix looked down at the world with such nobility that it was simply breathtaking. However, the pressure was too strong, so I fainted later on. Big Fatty, you fainted later on too? Qi Xiao nodded with a stiff expression. He was so aggrieved in his heart that he wanted to die. You're the one who was in a hurry to pee. Your entire family needs to pee. The demonic beasts were skeptical. The appearance of the divine phoenix should be real, but how did this little human girl happen to meet it? Yun Chujio seemed to have noticed the doubts of the demonic beasts and said proudly, "You may not know this, but am someone who is favored by the divine phoenix. Back then, when I sacrificed myself to the divine phoenix didn't even have the heart to take my life. I guess this time, it is also to let me see its heroic appearance. No wonder I felt that something was summoning me, so I threw that bead to you." The demonic beasts were still skeptical. The deep pit just now was obviously the scene of the nirvana bead appearing in the world, but they could not find it after searching for a long time. No matter how they thought about it, they felt that it was stolen by this little girl. Yun Chujio pretended to look into the distance casually and then exclaimed, "Oh my God! That is the feather of the phoenix." All the demonic beasts looked at the place that Yun Chujio pointed at and saw a few huge feathers in the bushes. Those were feathers that they had never seen before. Could they really be the feathers of the phoenix? Immediately, all the demonic beasts pounced towards that place, and all the demonic beasts started to fight again. The demonic beasts fought until the sky was dark. Finally, a few demonic beasts broke out of the encirclement and pounced towards the pile of feathers. After splitting the feathers, they saw the egg. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Phoenix egg. These 3 words flashed through the minds of the few demonic beasts. At the same time, they stretched out their claws to grab the phoenix egg. Not giving in to each other, they naturally started fighting again. At the same time, the high-level demonic beasts behind also rushed forward. When they saw that the phoenix feathers had been divided up by the few demonic beasts, just as they were disappointed, they discovered that there was actually a phoenix egg in the ground. Immediately, as if they had been injected with stimulants, they joined the battle as well. The battle immediately turned dark. Hei Xinjiu jumped onto the back of Qi Shao and watched the show happily. Go ahead, go ahead. The battle was so intense that it would be a shame if the phoenix egg did not break. As Hei Xinjiu expected, the demon beasts were fighting for the phoenix egg when they accidentally broke the phoenix egg and spilled the egg liquid all over the ground. The demon beasts were dazed for a moment before they snatched the remnants of the phoenix egg crazily. Even the wild grass that was stained with the egg liquid was swallowed by them. Hei Xinjiu was secretly happy. The cleaner the egg was, the better it would be. There would be no trace of it at all. As for the feathers, nobody knew them. Even if someone knew them, they would say that the phoenix collected them on its own. How could they blame it on her? Hei Xinjiu tugged at Qi Shao's fur fiercely. Idiot, hurry up and act regretful. If you hadn't fainted, wouldn't the phoenix egg be yours? Qi Shao was furious. However, he didn't dare to disobey. He stomped the ground and roared. He looked like he was going to die anyway. Hei Xinjiu also showed a regretful expression. She sighed and muttered, "Sigh. If only I didn't faint just now. It's really strange. Why did Phoenix come here to lay eggs? Why didn't she lay eggs in the previous fire pit?" When the demon beasts heard Yun Chujius muttering, their hearts trembled. They immediately imagined the truth of the matter. The divine phoenix must have used the fake nirvana pearls to attract their attention and then came here to lay eggs. However, they did not expect Qi Shao to come here. It was also possible that the divine phoenix had deliberately lured the little girl here. After all, the divine phoenix was looking after her and perhaps wanted her to bring the phoenix egg out. If they had come a step later, the little girl might have kept the phoenix egg. Fortunately, they came in time. Although they only got a little residue, they felt that their body was filled with a lot of spiritual power. It was indeed worthy of being the phoenix egg. When those demonic beasts thought of this, they suddenly felt a little proud and began to roar arrogantly. Qi Shao's face showed an angry expression, but in his heart, he cursed. Fuck, a group of idiots. They were fooled by the little girl. Bullshit phoenix egg. That was just an ordinary demonic bird egg. The real little phoenix was in the smelly girl's spiritual beast bag. Hei Xinjiu knew that she had to put on a full show. She was so dejected that she even asked Qi Shao to look around in the bushes. Naturally, there was nothing else. The crown prince and the others watched from afar and guessed the same thing as the demon beasts. Although they were a little surprised that Yun Chujio was not burned to death, they did not take it to heart since she had a criminal record. Hei Xinjiu let out a long sigh. Sigh. I got up early and rushed to the evening fair. I was busy for the whole day and did not make any noise. If I had known this would happen, I would have kept the bead. By the way, which one of you got the bead? It was originally mine. I was out of my mind and threw the bead out because it was too hot. If any of you found it, give it back to me. And give me back my shovel, which I bought for spiritual stones. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.